This month of June 2025 finds India standing at a complex and challenging crossroads, a nation grappling with multiple crises simultaneously. Each of these challenges tests the country's resilience, its diplomatic skill, and its economic fortitude in unique and demanding ways. From the snow-capped peaks of Kashmir, where the familiar sounds of conflict have returned with a terrifying intensity, to the bustling factory floors where the ambitious dreams of a green future are being scaled back, the sense of unease is palpable. The nation is being pulled in several directions at once, forced to confront dangers both at its borders and within its industrial heartland, reminding us that stability is never a guarantee but a constant struggle. These are not isolated incidents happening in vacuums. They are interconnected threads in a larger, more intricate tapestry of global uncertainty. The echoes of a brutal attack in Kashmir reverberate through the corridors of power in New Delhi and Islamabad, pushing two nuclear-armed neighbors closer to a dangerous precipice. At the same time, economic tremors from East Asia are causing significant disruptions, forcing a major Indian automaker to slash its production of electric vehicles. This setback not only affects corporate balance sheets, but also casts a long shadow over India's urgent environmental goals and its quest for technological self-reliance, a key pillar of its modern identity. Compounding these domestic and regional pressures, a fierce and escalating conflict in the Middle East is now sending shockwaves across the globe, and India finds itself directly in the path of this geopolitical storm. The escalating military actions between Iran and Israel have immediate and serious consequences for India's energy security, its vital trade routes, and most importantly, the safety of millions of its citizens living and working in the Gulf region. The nation must navigate these turbulent international waters with careful diplomacy and strategic foresight, balancing its historical relationships with its pressing national interests in a rapidly changing world order. This confluence of security, economic, and geopolitical crises presents a formidable test for India and its leadership. The path forward is fraught with difficulty, requiring a delicate balance of strength, dialogue, and international cooperation. The decisions made in the coming days and weeks will have long-lasting implications for the stability of South Asia and beyond. For the people of India, it is a moment that calls for unity and resolve as they look to their leaders to steer the country safely through these turbulent times, hoping for a future where peace and progress can once again take center stage. The fragile peace in Kashmir was shattered in late April 2025 by a devastating militant attack in Pahalgam that claimed the lives of 26 tourists. This single act of violence has plunged the region back into a cycle of fear and recrimination, dramatically escalating tensions between India and Pakistan. New Delhi has pointed a firm finger at Pakistan, accusing it of supporting the militants responsible for the massacre, a charge that Islamabad has vehemently denied. The incident has undone years of cautious confidence-building measures, replacing them with a hostile rhetoric that has pushed the two historic rivals to a dangerous crisis point, the most serious in recent memory. In the aftermath of the attack, diplomacy has given way to punitive action from both sides, creating a climate of deep mistrust. India and Pakistan have engaged in a tit-for-tat expulsion of diplomats and citizens, effectively shutting down formal channels of communication when they are needed most. Borders have been sealed, and airspace has been closed to each other's flights, severing physical connections that are vital for regional stability. In a move with significant long-term consequences, India has also suspended a key water-sharing treaty, signaling that all aspects of the bilateral relationship are now on the table in this high-stakes confrontation. The diplomatic freeze has been accompanied by a worrying escalation along the line of control, the de facto border that divides Kashmir. For nearly a week, soldiers from both armies have exchanged gunfire nightly, turning the once calm sectors of Kupwara, Uri, and Akhnur into active conflict zones. The Indian Army has reported what it calls unprovoked firing from the Pakistani side, while Pakistan has lodged its own claims of Indian ceasefire violations. These skirmishes, while currently localized, carry the ever-present risk of miscalculation and could easily spiral into a much larger and more devastating military conflict between the two nations. The leadership in both countries has adopted a hardened stance, raising the stakes even higher. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has made a powerful promise to the nation, vowing to hunt down the perpetrators of the Pahalgam attack to the ends of the earth. Responding to this, Pakistan's Army Chief General Asim Munir has issued a stark warning that any military misadventure by India would be met with a swift, resolute, and notch-up response. As the world watches with bated breath, international diplomats, including those from the United States and Qatar, are working frantically behind the scenes to urge restraint and pull both nations back from the brink. India's ambitious journey toward an electric vehicle revolution has hit a significant and unexpected speed bump, revealing the fragility of global supply chains. Maruti Suzuki, the country's largest and most influential car maker, recently announced a drastic cut in its production targets for its first-ever electric vehicle, the e-Vitara. The company has been forced to reduce its planned output for the April to September 2025 period by a staggering 2/3, a decision driven entirely by a global shortage of rare earth materials. This crisis stems from recent export restrictions imposed by China, which dominates the market for these essential minerals used in EV batteries and motors. The production cut from a planned 26,500 units down to a mere 8,200 is a major blow to Maruti Suzuki's strategic plans. The e-Vitara, which was launched with much fanfare in January 2025, represents the company's crucial entry into the booming EV market, a segment where it has been lagging behind competitors like Tata Motors. This delay not only puts Maruti under immense pressure to regain its footing, but also highlights India's dependence on foreign sources for critical components. While the United States and Europe have seen their supplies from China resume, India is still caught in a diplomatic waiting game, awaiting approval from Beijing for its shipments. The repercussions of this shortage extend far beyond a single company's production line. They threaten to derail India's national environmental objectives. The Indian government has set a bold target of ensuring that electric vehicles make up 30% of all new car sales by the year 2030, a goal that is critical for reducing urban pollution and combating climate change. When the country's largest car manufacturer is forced to pause its EV rollout, it creates a ripple effect across the entire industry, slowing down the development of charging infrastructure and dampening consumer confidence. This setback is a stark reminder of the economic vulnerabilities that can impede progress on green initiatives. For Maruti Suzuki, the timing of this crisis could not be worse. The company has already seen its dominant market share decline from 51% in 2020 to around 41% today, as nimbler rivals have capitalized on the growing demand for electric vehicles. The e-Vitara was designed not just for the Indian market, but as a cornerstone of Suzuki's global strategy, with a majority of the units intended for export to markets in Europe and Japan. The news of the production cuts immediately impacted investor sentiment, causing the company's share price to fall and raising serious questions about the future of India's EV dream. Even as India contends with crises on its borders and in its factories, a distant conflict is casting a long and ominous shadow over the nation. The recent major military escalation between Israel and Iran has direct and immediate consequences for India's security and economic stability. On June 13th and 14th, Iran launched a significant barrage of missiles and drones toward Israel, a retaliatory strike following an Israeli attack on sensitive Iranian sites. This dangerous exchange has pushed the Middle East to the brink of a wider war, creating a volatile situation that New Delhi is monitoring with extreme concern due to its deep-seated interests in the region. The most immediate impact has been on logistics and travel. During the Iranian attacks, an Air India flight from London to Delhi had to be abruptly rerouted to avoid flying through Iranian airspace, a clear illustration of the real-time risks to civilian aviation. Such disruptions threaten to become more common if the conflict continues, potentially increasing flight times and operational costs for Indian carriers. More critically, the conflict poses a grave threat to India's energy security. As a major importer of crude oil, India is highly vulnerable to supply disruptions and price spikes that a full-blown war in the Middle East would inevitably cause, which could fuel inflation and slow economic growth. Beyond the economic implications, the Indian government's primary concern is the safety and well-being of its vast diaspora. Millions of Indian citizens live and work across the Gulf region, including in Israel and Iran, forming a vital part of the local economies and sending home crucial remittances. The safety of these individuals is paramount, and the Indian government is on high alert, preparing contingency plans for potential evacuations should the security situation deteriorate further. The crisis serves as a poignant reminder of the human element intertwined with complex geopolitical events, where the lives of ordinary people hang in the balance. As India navigates this treacherous diplomatic landscape, it hopes for a swift de-escalation of hostilities. The nation's future is intertwined with stability in the Middle East, and a prolonged conflict would be detrimental to its interests. In these trying times, there is a profound hope that wisdom and restraint will prevail. Through the collective strength of its people and the support of its international partners, India aims to overcome these multifaceted challenges. The path ahead is difficult, but the goal remains clear: to secure a future of peace, stability, and continued prosperity for all its citizens, both at home and abroad.